This is 2012 Volkswagen Tiguan. The problem is that this cover gasket here, that is a timing chain cover, it's a gasket here, and it starts to leak over this winter. So the oil basically is running along that cover. You can see wet here, running down everywhere. Okay, I just cleaned some oil off here with some brake cleaner, nice and dry, so I can start taking this thing here off. Hopefully I don't have to raise the engine mount. I'm going to try to remove all these air holes and coolant holes and pinch them, and remove these bolts here, including this sensor as well. So here's the gasket, bought it from a dealer. Take the cover out without having to remove the engine mount. I'm looking at it very carefully. I may be able to do without it, so stay tuned and see how it's done. Remove this connector from the plug here by picking at the locking tab. Pry that out a little bit from the back and slightly tuck it out. Remove the oil dipstick here. Get all these holes out of the way. This plier is really good to release these clamps. So squeeze that and remove it. Release that, get it out. This hole's now out of my way. So if you look carefully in between the cover, bottom hole is a coolant hole that runs into the hard line, and the top one also the cooling hole that return to the reservoir tank. I need to take that out, swing them out of the way, because the bottom hole is sitting in the bottom here, at obstructing these two bolts of this cover at the bottom. So that hole need to come out in order for me to access the cover. So I'm gonna remove this clamp, okay, and hopefully I may have to remove this one here as well, and take this guy out, pinch it so that it doesn't spill all over the place, and let's get started. So these holes clamp is actually really good. You put in between the holes in between, and then you turn it up, you pinch it to stop from leaking the coolant. Then you can remove this clip here using this plier. Squeeze that and it locks. Then you can just slide this guy out. Okay, don't do like I do. I took this hose out, but the coolant from here just spit out all like crazy. So I really need to take the whole reservoir out here and tip it over somewhere so I don't have to drain any coolant. And let's try that. So I took the cooling tank's on top of the engine. Just tuck it the hose behind his ear, keep them out of place. And I disconnect the bottom, and I use the valve stem from the tire. Whenever you go and get your tire changed, they cut the valve off. I have one of those valves around, and I seal them up and just push it in there, and it's sealed, not leaking. Perfect. Here is the bolt. There's one down there, one in the back there, hard to see. And then the rest of them should be easy to access. It is this kind of bolt, 10mm I believe. So I'm going to disconnect the engine dipstick holder and take this cam angle here too. I think that's where it is, but let's take it off. So remove the T30 3 screw with the ratchet. Remove the timing cover also with T30 and the ratchet. The one below the oil filter assembly that hold the dipstick assembly. Here's the tool setup that I have for this job. I got all the bolts out. Now the timing cover, you have to take your time and wiggle it out. It will tilt forward to the front once all the bolts are clear. And here's the old gasket. I have cleaned it all. Now I'm going to put a new gasket in. It's an OEM gasket. I cannot find any aftermarket, so it has a groove that it fit right into where the bolt is, and the bolt itself actually hold the gasket in place. So here's the bolt, and the bolt has this sleeve. There's a rubber gasket here as well. It goes from the front, wedged right into this gasket, and it hold in place. So you can see the bolt doesn't fall out. The sleeve, little lip there, that's actually going to the gasket, actually sitting in between. And yeah, there you go. I keep the order where the bolt I took out, like the top one, the bolt here, I kept them in on top, and then sequential order, so I keep them in the order. It doesn't really matter, they look the same anyway, but always good practice to check it. So make sure this bolt is in, and it came out from the back, so I'm going to put it in the same way I took it out. Clear this boy's dipstick here. Caught on something. Oh, the bolt. I see it. The bottom bolt. So you got to cover back on. All bolts are tight. The hardest one is the two and one on the bottom. Take your time and it will go to it. I definitely can do it. I have no problem doing it again. I did not have to remove any engine mount. And all I have to do is just put this overflow tank on top, tuck the hose out behind this engine hoik here, and just play around with this hose, and you get it to it. So now I'm going to put the this unit back on and dipstick, and we're done. Okay, I finished it. Let me summarize what I did if you have to do this job. So you definitely have to disconnect the bottom line, the coolant line here, and when you disconnect that, there's some fluid gonna come out. Not much. Use the broken valve stem, like from the tire that cut off there, and shove it into this hard pipe, and that enough to seal. So I did that, no leak at all. Once you disconnect this, take this line and toss it all the way in the back out there. So you really need to make sure the room in between this engine mount to the cover, nothing in between there, because you need all the room you can get. You remove this tank, you don't have to empty it, just disconnect everything and just flip it over on top of the engine, tuck it behind this engine crank hoist here, and then remove 5 bolts here, this D30 or 10 millimeter. There's 5 of them, remove them. Remove this 3 bolt, hold this assembly here as well, and just take the screwdriver and pop it out gently. You're gonna reuse the gasket, so don't want to damage that. And with all this line here, disconnect it and tuck, like you have to leave it here because it's not much room for you to move it out. but you wiggle around it to get this cover come out. So I did that. The cover does come out. The bolt here has to really loose out completely out. It doesn't fall off. It's hold by the O-ring. So when you put in this thing here, wiggle a lot, and when the new gasket in, it tends to catch all this assembly here. So you have to take your time and go slowly. And then I managed to get it in. It does. This guy here come out, tilt this way out, and I was able to get out. Checking for leak, checking for coolant leak. Nothing, just the oil leak. Okay, that's the oil thing that I cleaned. I didn't clean very well, but there's absolutely no oil leak.